if it's a church with altar rails, then it's, the architecture therefore it's there for receiving on the knees. Now, like in our parish, it's optional, but we all line up along.
Sure. Lots of parishes do that.
Right. And so it's optional, but
as I think I was telling you before, our parish in Columbus, or Dominican parish in Columbus, just never stopped receiving at the rail. There was never a time in which people received standing. It's always been at the rail.
Can a bishop tell a pastor to stop using the altar rail?
Well, this is the thing. I just don't understand functionally how that happens. What are you going to do when people just kneel there? Are you just going to ignore them? Because that's what he's doing. He's saying, Pastor, what I want you to do is these people want to come to communion and they want to receive it kneeling. I want you to deny that to them.
Well, it wants to stand in the center and have the two lines coming up just like
And what happens then if they just go to the side and kneel at the rail? Then what's the priest supposed to do? Again, deny them communion? Bishop, if you want to come down here and talk to them, feel free. Come to Mass. Explain to them what's going on. Explain to them what you want to do. But I will say, if I was a pastor and there's somebody at the rail and wants to receive communion, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give them communion. And I think in conscience I have to. Right? I think that for me that's a matter of conscience, because there's nothing that suggests to me in law or in morals that they're not properly disposed or ready to receive communion. And if that's the case, I don't have any right to deny it to them.
So we're in the nitty gritty. So now we're talking about, I totally get what you're saying about not denying somebody who goes over there and kneels, but where the priest and deacon or whoever, they're ritualistically or routinely distribute communion, like, because do they go over to the altar rail and wait for everybody to line up, or do they stand in the center? Can a bishop regulate where the priest goes to distribute communion?
That is a very good question. I will say first of all, I hope not. But
it's a specific question. I know it's specific, but I don't think this is fictional.
No, I know it's not fictional at all. So there's a tension here, and there's the two things that you have to keep in mind. That the bishop, the pastor has an office, right? It has an office with authority. He's not simply the local manager for the bishop, right? He has an office which he exercises according to his own authority there. And I think the bishop needs to respect that. And I think the bishop can't overcome that, or can't overcome that easily. So it'd be interesting to see what Rome had to say about this. I don't know if there's any express understanding from Rome on this. But I would say something as individual as where the priest stands to distribute Holy Communion would seem to me outside of the authority of a bishop with regards to a particular parish. If people disagree with me, you can write in. But that just seems to me something that is very properly under the scope of the pastor. And if the bishop doesn't like it, then he can bring these things together and bring a case to remove him from the office.
It seemed to me that if one bishop can say you cannot distribute communion at the altar rail, then another bishop could say you have to distribute communion at the altar rail.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to respect the people's right to receive standing.
Sure.
So, so they could come up and receive standing and do it.
No, I'm drawing that distinction.
Yeah. But again, this just doesn't seem to me. You had that. Unfortunately, you had that in places like, maybe if he legislated it, maybe if he exercises, that'd be interesting. If he did it as a law, that is, if he executed a law and promulgated it with some as law, then I might be willing to buy. If he just went to the priest and says, as the part of my exercise of my authority and the executive power that I have, regulation of liturgy, I tell you have to move here rather than here, that I would probably find a little bit more difficult. All right.